All right, Shalom. I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. I want to give double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and say peace, mercy, and blessings to all the hopeful elect. The true name of the Heavenly Father is Yahweh, which means He exists or He is to be. The true name of the Son is Yahweh Shai, which means He is the deliverer. Right now, I want to do this lesson. Pretty much, what's been going on in the news or the narrative, that's been laid out there is that, there's UFOs or UAPs, pretty much UFOs or unidentified flying objects, UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena. They're pretty much saying that, these are drones, this, that, and the third, But a lot of these are chariots, and as we get closer and closer to the end, there will be an increase of more and more chariot sightings. It also could be a setup for, Project Bluebeam, to fake the second coming. We can't forget earlier this year, cops were given pamphlets says U.S. police chiefs release handbook on UAPs. Says police chiefs of America's largest cities have published the first guide about UAPs or unidentified aerial phenomena, which details encounters and how officers can report the incidents. So earlier this year, they were actually giving handbooks to police chiefs on UAPs. There's all sorts of information coming out from NASA about, UFOs, things of that nature, but these things are actually in the scriptures. I want to play this video. This is from World Story. In New Jersey Sheriff Office reports that 50 drones with 8-foot wingspan suddenly emerged from the ocean last night. See if that'll work.
Nadie en mi familia había ido a la universidad. No teníamos mucho dinero y me causaba mucha ansiedad. Pero cuando recibí esta beca de liderazgo y mérito, todo cambió. Como estudiante de primera generación es un gran regalo y ahora estoy haciendo todo lo que puedo para honrarlo. Este logro significa muchísimo para mí, pero creo que significa mucho más para mi familia. Me dieron todo. Que yo estuviera preparada cuando llegara esta oportunidad.
Hi, Elizabeth. Well, I got to be honest here. When this story first came out a few weeks ago, as a resident of New Jersey, as a journalist, I didn't pay it much credence. I thought it would turn out to be a bunch of pranksters, and this would all be over by now. The experience I had last night, however, changed the way I feel about this story completely. What I saw was more sophisticated than I ever imagined. Take a look.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 5 lights, 6 lights.
I didn't believe what I was seeing. But what was I seeing? We're here in Central Jersey. We've been looking for the past hour. I think we've seen about 40 or 50 of these drones. In fact, there's one over my shoulder right there. One after another, these drones appeared in the night sky. If you look real close, they look like fixed-wing aircraft, about 8 to 10 feet wide, colorful, white blinking lights.
That is not a plane.
Definitely not an airplane, but what was it? Hours earlier, I was invited to join the Ocean County Sheriff Department. They launched their own drones to see if they could intercept the mysterious aircraft New Jersey residents have been reporting in recent weeks. The department says these mystery drones evade detection because they don't give off heat like regular drones.
Why do you think that is? We don't know. It's just something that we haven't, it's not something that we've had our hands on. It's not something that we've experienced.
Something they hadn't experienced until now. One of their officers called 911 after seeing 50 of them come off the ocean.
Advised after we made contact with that officer that there were 50 that came off the ocean.
50?
50. That was my reaction also. There were 50 that were coming off the ocean.
And this is a sworn officer.
Sworn officer, yes. We contacted the state police, we contacted the FBI, we contacted the Coast Guard, at which point the Coast Guard went out with their boat, and they reported seeing 13 following their boat, and then the Coast Guard also advised that they went over them about 300 feet and had a wingspan of about 8 feet.
Can you see one right here?
Did I see the same thing that officer saw? I'm still not sure. What I can show you.
Right, so there you have it. So going back to this article from APnews.com, it says drones, planes, or UFOs, Americans, Babylonians, a buzz over mysterious New Jersey sightings. You know, I found this other video here.
You have a boyfriend?
No. I just broke.
What people don't know is that Hudson County, New Jersey, northern New Jersey, is the #1 place in the country where they have the most UFO sightings.
Really? Northern New Jersey?
Look it up, Jamie, if you get a minute, please, not to be rude.
But isn't that like near a couple airports?
No,
Right,
it's
when
close.
you do your research, you know, this North Hudson Park UFO incident, you know, New Jersey has been an area of heavy so-called unidentified area phenomena. Really, the chariots. You know, they're known for seeing chariots out there in New Jersey. You know, and this is not just happening in New Jersey. These sightings, you know, are happening all over the world. You know.
Closer to, like, you know, like when you live in New York City and you look at the Hudson River, they say that people go on their balcony, they're drinking coffee, they're talking on the phone, and they'll see a little flying saucer go by.
Really?
And I know for a fact that in 1976,
A little one?
whatever the fuck they are, I know for a fact that in 1975 and 1976, you could check me out on this, a UFO landed in Hudson County Park. I was a kid, and the next day the feds locked off the park. They had yellow tape, they had samples. Go look it up, dog. There's a UFO. You see that's called, North Bergen is where I'm from. That's called, I forget what it's called, but it's a circular building. So they did so much coke in there in the 80s, they called it the Grinder. That's what they called it, because it was shaped like the Stonehenge. The Stonehenge. I have a couple of friends that lived there. People that lived in that building have seen UFOs for fucking years. And if you go to YouTube, there's an actual North Hudson Park UFO. They dug up, they came out to there's a liquor store. And the liquor store guy says he's seen the lights. You heard like the organ music that they play. They landed. A couple Martians got out and took samples and got back in the thing and took off. There's a YouTube thing. There's a History Channel special about it. And I still remember being a young kid.
Did you find anything, Jamie?
Not give.
That was what's popping up, all that stuff about that building and.
Oh yeah, no.
Is there anything that says a UFO landed?
That's the story I'm reading right now. Is what he's saying. Yeah.
And witnesses. You know, it's not just one guy that says, "I know UFO." It's people who got knocked on the door and said, "Did you see anything at 11, 10 at night?" And they said, "You know what? There were lights flashing outside." They contacted police departments to see if there was any. And they went full. Then the FBI came in, circled the park. It was by the Little League field in Hudson County. But it is, like you'd think it was Area 51. You'd think it was close to northern Las Vegas. The #1 place to see UFOs is northern New Jersey. They even made a reference to it in The Sopranos. When he said something, he goes, "What are you talking about? Last week you said you seen a UFO in Hackensack." Because that's where they're at. Hackensack, Moonachie. Right. All those. You go to Moonachie, New Jersey.
So as you can see, you know, this interview with Joe Rogan and Joey Diaz from a couple years back, they was talking about, you know, the UFOs out there in New Jersey. You know, now we're here pretty much a couple of weeks away from 2025. You know, there's all this talks of drones, UFOs, things of that nature. You know, because that's ultimately, we're in the days where, you know, Yahweh Shem Shai is visiting the earth, you know. This is the book of 2nd Esdras chapter 6 and verse 18. I'll start at 17. And it happened that when I had heard it, I stood upon my feet and hearkened, and behold, there was a voice that spake, and the sound of it was like the sound of many waters. And it said, "Behold, the days come that I will begin to draw nigh and to visit them that dwell upon the earth." You know, and to look up the definition of that word visit in the online etymology dictionary, the verb there says come to a person to comfort or benefit from old French visitor to visit, inspect, examine, to afflict, right? So let's look up the word afflict. It says to cast down, so ultimately these chariots, these so-called UFO sightings, they're a bad omen for Babylon the Great, because that's what they're coming to do. They're coming to cast this place down, but it's going to be through violence, right? This is Revelation 18:21. And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down and be found no more at all. So part of the violent overthrow is going to come from what the world will call UFOs, UAPs, unidentified area phenomena, but these are vehicles, are the heavenly vehicles of Yahushua and the angels, and when the Lord comes back, it's going to be for vengeance. This is the book of Isaiah 66 and verse 15. For behold, Yahweh Shem Yahushua will come with fire and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury and his rebuke with flames of fire. For by fire and by a sword will the Lord plead with all flesh. If you go into this word plead, it actually means judgment. The word there is shapat.
Strong's H8199. Shaphat.
Which goes into punish. If you go down, it says enter into controversy, have controversy. Execute judgment, condemning and punishing. So these chariots are going to come, just like you would see on something on World of Worlds. They even have a comedy movie called This Is the End, where they show you the chariots, but they come and they actually beam Jacob. So this is a comedy movie, but what they show you in this movie, the chariots beaming people up, but these things are actually in the scriptures, but Hollywood to take it, and they mentioned Book of Revelation in that movie too. I remember seeing it years back. They mentioned Revelation, but Esau, Hollywood, they put a lot of these things in movies, comedies, things of that nature, but this is actually Bible prophecy. It's back in Isaiah 66 and verse 16. It says, by fire and by a sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many. So I want to play this other video from Redacted, using this stream lab app to go live. So Lord willing, the audio and everything is good. I'm really just testing it out, but Lord willing, it works out and I could keep going live this way, So this is from Redacted and about a couple of days ago, but he actually mentions Ezekiel, will within the will, so I'm going to play some of it.
Report from the New Jersey State Police now admitting that they have revealed that unidentified drones are operating on a frequency that cannot be detected. Okay, we can't detect the frequency? We don't know.
That's right. They're operating on a frequency that cannot be detected because the UFOs, UAPs, they're not, they maneuver at, they pretty much can change dimensions, shape, sizes, all of that. And it's not technology. It's technology that's not seen on the earth. The Most High built Esau's military up. Gave him all this weaponry, power, things of that nature. Just so he could show his power. This is from Romans 9:17. It says, for the scripture said unto Pharaoh, even for the same purpose have I raised thee up, that I might shew my power in thee, and that my name might be declared throughout all the earth. So the Most High had raised up the modern Pharaoh, which is, the Edomites, Esau, Idumeans, starting with the elites, so-called 1%. So I believe when you go into that word Pharaoh, it means, great house. Yep, so this is the online etymology dictionary for the word Pharaoh. It says literally great house, going to the different ruling class, elite families, Rockefellers, DuPonts, Medicis, so forth and so on. So the modern day pharaohs of this society are the elites. The modern day Egypt is America. So it says, for the scripture said unto Pharaoh, even for this same purpose have I raised thee up, that I might shew my power in thee, and that my name might be declared throughout all the earth. So when Yahweh does send his son Yahweh Shai back with Michael the archangels, there will be a war in heaven. This is why, under Trump's last presidency, they came up with what? The Space Force. It's because they already know what was coming. So under his last presidency, they came up with the Space Force. And this man hasn't even taken office yet. And they're saying there's mysterious drones over his golf courses. There's been 2 attempts on his life already. All right. And we're about just under a month away from January 20th, inauguration day, a couple weeks away from New Year's, Esau's New Year. I'll read it again, Romans 9:17. For the scripture said unto Pharaoh, even for the same purpose have I raised thee up, that I might shew my power in thee, and that my name might be declared throughout all the earth. So this technology that the chariots of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua that the angels maneuver in is something that nothing Esau possessed can mess with it, man. So when the chariots do finally come and declare war on this place, it's going to be straight slaughter,
Amidst the New Jersey State Police, we don't know what these things are. New Jersey Representative Jeff Van Drew now is doubling down on the same claim that he made yesterday, which we brought to you yesterday here on the show, that these mysterious drones are coming from an Iranian mothership off the east coast of the United States. And he slammed Pentagon officials for it at the time, for treating the American people like they're stupid and withholding information about these drones. This is what he said this morning. Watch.
These drones very well could be launched from a ship. It could be hundreds of miles out at sea. These types of drones go much greater distances. These, again, are something that we normally don't see.
One thing about these chariots that have been known to, there have been, so-called sightings, a lot of sightings around volcanoes, them going in and out of volcanoes, them going in and out the ocean, like I said, shape-shifting, disappearing, reappearing, moving at angles that Esau's aerial crafts can't maneuver at. They can't even explain it,
United States. So there is a real possibility. Could it be China? Absolutely. Could it be somebody else? It sure could. Here's the deal. They don't know what it is. They don't know what it's about. They haven't taken one down to analyze it. They have no idea where it comes from, but they know that it's not that. I mean, that's nonsense. They do not know what they're doing. Why don't they take one of them down, analyze it, and let us know what's really happening? I hope they know more.
That's bullshit. Esau always talking about how they, shot down UFOs. they can't, they can try to, but these UFOs, there's tons of videos out there, man, how they be toying with Esau and his fighter jets,
And they're telling us, but that's disrespectful to the public and to Congress. It's about time they leveled with the truth. Hopefully they'll give us some information this afternoon. But even if they do, it's like a month too late. This reminds me of the spy balloon. Last year, it traveled the whole country.
Yeah,
wait. Yesterday he said if it was our own government, they'd have told us.
Yeah.
He literally said that yesterday.
He's all over the place with this, but he is doubling down on the fact that these are coming from an Iran.
That's bullshit, because you go into the word government, it's a compound word that actually means mind control, You know, this is the same government that's poisoning your food supply. You got fluoride and atrazine in your water, things of that nature. So you can't trust this government. They ain't gonna never tell you the truth. You know.
Mothership. So he's doubling down on that, but now he wants answers from the government, and he hopes that they'll tell us the truth about it today, I guess. So we'll suddenly get answers on this. But he's right about one thing on this, which is that it's been about a month now. I mean, November 18th is when these things were first spotted. And they're showing up in massive numbers, staying up in the air for 6-7 hours at a time, even longer in some reports. And where are they going back to? We don't know. We don't have any idea. Marjorie Taylor Greene is calling BS on all of this. She says this idea that the Pentagon or the Defense Department doesn't know where these are coming from is total garbage. She says they absolutely know. She's calling BS. Watch.
Well, number one, I'm going to call it total bullshit that no one knows what these are. And I think it's a slap in the face to the American people to say they don't know what this is. They can track down a guy that just killed a CEO, but they can't identify what nightly drones are and where they're coming from. I think that is absolutely disgusting to lie to the American people like this, and the truth needs to be told about it. Secondly, if they're telling the truth, then this country is in horrible shape. We're all in danger.
Yeah, this country is in horrible shape. You know, I'm gonna get a couple of precepts. This is from Isaiah 19, verse 1. It says, message to Egypt. It says, the burden of Egypt, was that goes back to the house of bondage, you know, for the Israelites. It says, behold, the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua rideth upon a swift cloud. Now, this cloud is talking about what the world would call UAPs or UFOs, something they can't explain, you know. But when you go to the scriptures, you know, Ezekiel, Psalm, you know, Habakkuk, pretty much all of the prophets, you know, Zechariah, this is the curse that go over the earth. You know, it says, the burden of Egypt, behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud and shall come into Egypt. So this is how the Lord's going to come into Egypt. This is how the Lord's going to visit. Right? This is why, this is also the deliverance. There's going to be the chariots are going to be a huge part of the second Exodus. And this is why the second Exodus is going to far outshadow, you know, or eclipse the first Exodus. This Isaiah 19:1. It says, the burden of Egypt, behold, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua rideth upon a swift cloud and shall come into Egypt. And the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence. That's right. So when the Lord comes back, it's just going to be search and destroy. All right, search, deliver the elect, destroy America, the wicked, all the idols thereof. Right? This shows you that on different movies, like Independence Day, the chariot hovered over the White House, destroyed it. You know, of Egypt shall be moved out of his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. Because these people, they're not gonna have any answer they don't have any answers now. They're not gonna have any answers for the chariots, UFOs, or the power or the anger that Yahushua is coming with. This is another reason why the elites want to hide in deep underground military bases, bunkers, things of that nature. It actually says that to hide from the wrath of the Lamb, you know. And this is from Jeremiah 16 and verse 14. It says the Most High will restore them, but this is happening right now before Esau's eyes, and the heathens too. Jeremiah 16:14. Therefore, behold, the days come, said Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, that it shall no more be said, the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. And we still watch movies on that today. You know, Esau, he puts white cast, things of that nature, but, you know, we know the truth. You know, how they were people of color, so-called black people. You know, you read Book of Exodus to tell you how the Most High did a miracle with Moses putting his hand in his bosom, came out leprous as snow, then he put it back and it came to its original flesh. So obviously these weren't white people. but we still have movies, books on ancient Egypt and the Exodus, the Hebrews, Moses. We still talk about that today. It says, therefore, behold, the days come, said Yahweh Shem Yahushai, that it shall no more be said, the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north. So it's going to be another Exodus, and this didn't happen during the time of the 70 weeks of Babylon, the Medo-Persian Empire, the Greeks, the Romans. It's going to happen now with dealing with the elect, the $12 from each tribes, and the 1/3, because also it says in Jeremiah that, Israel and Judah will press together, It says, but the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, was dealing with America, and from all the lands where he had driven them, where we had been scattered. Okay? And I will bring them again into their land that I gave unto their fathers. So the elect are going to be delivered this time on chariots, or what the world will call UFOs. And this is also how the Lord is coming back, and every eye is going to see him. This is Revelation 1 and verse 7. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him. So this is something that people going to see, And they also which pierced him, and all the kindreds of the earth shall woe because of him. Even so, this man's heart is going to fail him for fear. It says, and they also which pierced him, which he was pierced 2,000 years ago, and the blood and the water came out by the Roman centurion. So that proves reincarnation, because that same Roman centurion is back here in the flesh. And that proves the Lord's going to come back for vengeance. He's not coming back with, giving hugs and, with a smile on his face. It says, the scripture also says that the day of vengeance is in my heart, And in the book of Acts, it tells you the same way he left is the same way he's going to return, right, with those clouds. This is the book of Acts, chapter 1, and verse 9, the ascension. And when he had spoken these things, while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. So he was breaking bread with the disciples who became apostles. They got sent out to do the work. And mind you, after the Lord rose, he was with them for 40 days, teaching them, breaking down to them the kingdom, things of that nature. But it came to time where he had to go back to the right hand of the Father. But how did he go back? He got what the world would call beamed up or picked up by a UFO. It says, and when he had spoken these things, while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. And while they looked steadfastly, right, because this is a very dramatic scene. You gotta imagine that they're all watching them. And this is the same thing Elisha witnessed with Elijah, And while they looked steadfastly toward heaven as he went up, behold, 2 men stood by them in white apparel. So the angels appeared to comfort them, It says, which also said, ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? This same Yahushua, which is taken up from you into heaven, shall so come in like manner as you seen him go into heaven. So the angels told him, like, the same way you see your Lord leave on a chariot, same way he's coming back. And then in the book of Revelation, John the Revelator said he's going to come with clouds, and every eye shall see him. Jeremiah said the second exodus is going to far eclipse the first one, man. Then Isaiah tells you that he's going to enter into Egypt. So we're putting the pieces to the puzzle together now that we're at the end. We're seeing how these things are playing out, the increase in chariots, so-called UFOs, more and more talk about AI, all right, computer chips, all right, So all the prophecies that are written about, they're coming to pass, you know. This is from the book of Revelation, chapter 11. And verse 12, we'll get right to the point. It says, "And they heard a great voice from heaven, saying unto them, Come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in the cloud, and their enemies beheld." So this is something everybody's going to see. The second coming of Yahushua, that great cloud, a father ship, the chariot, and the Israelites getting beamed up, because it says their enemies beheld them, you know. Wisdom of Solomon talks about the strangeness of their salvation. This is Wisdom of Solomon chapter 5. It says, "Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as afflicted him, and made no account of his labors." And, you know, starting with our apostles and elders and their elders, that's what we do when we hit the highways and hedges. We're standing in great boldness before the devil, Satan, the old serpent, who was Esau, Edom, these other heathen nations, 2/3 of our own people as well, you know, because they're against us too. It says, "Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as afflicted him." Right? They put us in slavery. They're part of our land. You know, it's also written in Joel 3. That's why Most High is bringing the third woe, or World War III. It's for the controversy of Zion. Right? It says, when they see it, see what? Those chariots. And also the Israelites being taken up on those chariots and them being left behind. You know, when they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation. So this, you know, this is going to be a very amazing, beautiful time. You know, that people are going to see, people are going to be afraid. You know, so far beyond all that they look for, right? Because they're not expecting this. They can't even comprehend it. You know, which at least they know what these so-called UFOs and chariots are, but the average Joe, they don't know, and they're not going to understand why they're not being taken. You know, when they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit, shall say within themselves, "This was we who we had sometimes in derision and a proverb of reproach." Right? We had these people in slavery. We called them illegal aliens. Ironic enough, immigrants, niggers, spics, everything in the book. You know, they were pretty much at the bottom of our society, the slaves. You know, we fools are counting his life madness, and the end to be without honor. Right? With us going out to the highways and hedges doing these videos, you know, people would say we're wasting our life. You know, our you know, this ain't the way. You know, things of that nature. So they looking at us like our life is madness and we're just wasting our life, but not understanding that this is going to lead to the you know, to our salvation, ultimately eternal life, if we be part of the elect. You know, it says, "How is he numbered among the children of the Most High, and his lot among the saints?" And that's how these people are going to look. Like, how the hell can they be among the saints? You know, the movie, there's a good movie called Knowing. It might be The Knowing, where it showed you the man's son. He got delivered. You know, the angels came and took him. So some people are going to be taken, some not going to be taken. You know, we're praying that we're the ones that be taken, because what the world will push is a false doctrine of the rapture, like we're going to be taken before all hell breaks loose. But we're going to have to go through things, because it says, "Through much tribulation shall you get the kingdom." You know, it says that the servant is not greater than his master. You know, this is the book of 2 Kings, chapter 2. Jump down to verse 10. This is dealing with Elijah and Elisha. I'm going to start at verse 9. "And it came to pass when they were gone over, that Elijah said unto Elisha, Ask what I shall do for thee before I be taken away from thee. So this is the time where Elijah was going to be translated or beamed up. And Elisha said, I pray thee, let a double portion of thy spirit be upon me. And he said, thou hast asked a hard thing. Nevertheless, if thou see me when I am taken from thee, it shall be so unto thee. But if not, then it shall not be so. So he told him, if you see me being translated, beamed up on the chariot, then pretty much what you asked for is going to be given you. But if not, then it won't. Verse 11, it came to pass, as they still went on and talked, that behold, there appeared a chariot of fire and horses of fire, and parted them both asunder, meaning it took up Elijah and it left behind Elisha. But with Elisha being left behind, what fell upon him is a double portion of Elijah's spirit, and Elisha began to do great miracles, And Elijah went up by a whirlwind into heaven. This is the strangeness of the salvation, And Elisha saw it, and he cried, my father, the chariot of Israel and the horsemen thereof. And he saw him no more, and he took hold of his own clothes and rent them in pieces. And he took up also the mantle of Elijah that fell from him, and went back and stood by the bank of. So that's this. You imagine you seeing this, and this is not something that Esau can put on the movie screen because you won't do a good enough job, But if you read it with your imagination, it's a very horrifying sight. You could imagine how Elisha felt, he was afraid, But these same vehicles that are going to deliver the elect, they're also going to destroy, all right? And they're going to take part in the war in heaven. This is Revelation 12 and verse 8. It says, and there was a war in heaven. Now, they don't mean, because according to Christianity, we learned, always thought in the world that, there actually be a fight in the heavens where the Heavenly Father, where Yahushua is, but it's actually talking about pretty much, where the sun, the moon, the clouds are, because there's different levels of heaven. There's a heaven on earth, which is where men is given dominion or rule or a kingdom, right? But then you have the second heaven, where the constellation are the clouds, the sun, moon, stars, etc. But then you have the third heaven, which is where Yahweh sits, and Yahushua sits on his right hand. Okay, and there was a war in heaven or space, which is why Esau invented the Space Force, so you can understand. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon and his angels, so this beast, military of the beast, all right, it's fighter jets, Space Force, etc. And the dragon fought and his angels, right? And you can also go into 2nd Esdras 13. It breaks it down there as well, It says, and prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven, because they're going to be destroyed, wiped out, taken out of rulership. All right, these chariots represent the downfall of Esau. You got to remember, we're stolen. Esau has stolen property in his possession. This is Exodus 21 and verse 6. Wait, is it? This is 16. Exodus 21 and 16. And he that stealeth a man and selleth him, right? Or if he be found in his hand, so with the Most High visiting this place, we're going to be found in the possession of Esau, because with his pride, which the Most High hardened his heart, but with his pride, he's refusing to let us go. This is Jeremiah 50 and verse 33. It says, thus said Yahweh Shem Yahushua of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah will press together. So that's both kingdoms or all the tribes, so you can understand, right? And when you go into the history, you see that the Assyrians took down the northern kingdom, right? From thence, they came to the Americas, the so-called New World. So we weren't oppressed together under the Babylonians, under the Medo-Persians, under the Greeks or the Romans, all right? But we are being oppressed together here in America. It says, thus said Yahweh Hashem El Shai of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go. So they're not just going to let us go. Esau is just not going to hand over the kingdom. That's why it says the saints shall take the kingdom. Exodus 21:16, and he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death. So when the Lord come back, he's going to do a whole lot of slaying, killing. It's going to be nothing but wailing and people getting zapped and turned to powder, man. You know, it's back in Revelation 12 in verse 8, it says, and prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven. It's going to be taken out of rulership forever. They're not going to rise back up and you know, take and try to come up against us when we get in power. It says, and a great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceived the whole world with what's the religion, his technology, his monetary system, his democracy, his media, his music, his witchcraft, sorcery. It says he was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him, meaning they're going to be brought very low. And Isaiah says, to the sides of the pit, to hell, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength in the kingdom of our power and the power of his anointed. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down. I believe that word goes into categoreo, the Greek word.
Strong's G 2723. Categareo. Categareo.
Says to accuse before a judge, to make an accusation. Because Esau built up the society to ensnare our people to live a lifestyle of sin, you know, break the laws of Yahweh Hashem El Shai. You know, they constantly putting curses on us, setting traps for us to fall, and then they'll accuse us before the Most High, but he's setting us up to be in this predicament, you know. It says, now has come salvation and strength in the kingdom of our power and the power of his anointed. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down. So he's getting ready to be cast down. So these so-called sightings, they're a good sign, you know. And they're saying they're car-sized drones, you know, frequencies that they can't pick up, you know. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our power day and night. You know, so Esau's gone hard to get that birthright back, but it's not going to happen, you know. This is, get one more precept and I'll close it. Lord willing, this audio stuff works out good, man. This 2 Ezra 13 and verse 1, and it came to pass after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night, and lo, there arose a wind from the sea, that it moved all the waves thereof. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. So that's Yahweh Shai coming back with the chariots, huge chariots, and also Michael the Archangel with them, you know. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen unto him. It says, behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him. Man's heart shall fail them because of fear, you know, fright, and even the destructive beams that's going to come from these chariots, man, you know. And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice, like as the earth fell it when it filled the fire. So that's that concentrated energy, you know. just destroying things. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of the heaven to subdue the man that came up out the sea. And this is gonna, in the midst of the third woe, you know, because we're only waiting for a few major prophecies. The one being the rice device, the mark of the beast. Shortly after that, the third woe is going to pop off. But in the midst of the third woe, all these nations getting down in the valley of Jehoshaphat, time of Armageddon, that's when the Lord's going to make a grand entrance, you know. It says, and after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of the number from the four winds of the heaven to subdue the man that came out to sea. When it came out to sea, it doesn't necessarily mean the ocean, but actually out of the sky, you know. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain and flew upon it, dealing with the size of the chariot of Israel. All right, the so-called UFO, UAP, you know, as the world would call it. We know them as the chariots of Israel, you know, and flew up upon it. But I would have seen the region or place where out the hill was graven, and I could not, meaning this chariot was so huge, you know, he couldn't tell where it ended, where it started. It just was there, you know. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, yet durst fight. Man, all the militaries of the world, man, you know, they're going to be shitting themselves, man, you know, but the Most High still going to put the spirit on them to fight so he could destroy them. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. That's because it's just going to be operating from the fathership, all right, sending that concentrated energy, destroying them, you know. But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests, you know. And that's pretty much describing or detailing the laser beams, you know. And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. And when I saw this, I was afraid. So that's a very heavy vision that Ezra seen, you know. And just like it's written in Matthew, blessed are your eyes for they see, blessed are your ears for they hear. We're living in times what all the prophets desired to see and hear, you know. So I just wanted to do a quick lesson on that. Like I said, it's a test run using the live streaming app. The Lord willing, it came out good. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai.